Alright, I chose to do this as its own little project here, and we just cut the yard. It looks pretty good, pretty decent for a freebie. Come on, man, somebody's got to be worked up about that. Leave it in the comments, let me know that you're mad I cut it, didn't charge them anything. You're stupid, Kevin, you're never gonna stay in business that way. Yeah, it's cool, whatever. Anyways, here though, the driveway's gone, man. It's grown over, it looks wild. So James is grabbing the blower. He's gonna blow all the nonsense and debris away so that we don't have to work as hard cleaning this stuff up. See, if you blow it first, then you can see what you're actually working with. You see how much isn't there that was there? They'll blow all that out of the way, and then I can come in and clean it up real quick. Over here, the sidewalk's non-existent, so he's gonna blow all this stuff out. And then I am going to, well, I'm going to find the edge of the concrete with the Weedeater. And that's the way that I would prefer to do it. And we'll see how it goes. Hope you guys enjoy it.
In this episode, I'm going to show you some stuff, and I'm probably going to talk about some stuff. And I'm probably going to show you some more stuff, and I'm probably going to talk about some more stuff. If you don't like talking, there's always the mute button. We'll just keep putting that out there until people figure it out. If you're into watching really boring lawn videos, there's a lot of them out there. A lot. There's some with just the sound of the equipment. It's pretty relaxing, I get it. There's some with just music. Pretty relaxing, I get those too. There's some with guys like me that are talking, telling you about what I'm doing, whispering sweet nothings into your ear, and telling you of our lawn business, and what we do that's different than everybody else, how we use our equipment to make your property look better. If you're into that, that's me. What I'm trying to tell you there is there's a lot of lawn fetishes out there, and I can't make everybody happy. So, I do what I like, and what I enjoy is learning how to do stuff. So, if this is your first time watching one of our videos, just keep in mind that generally what I like to do is add some kind of value, talking about our service, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and sometimes I put motivational speeches or sermons or something like that, something that I listen to while I'm working that kind of keeps me in the right mental mindset. Because the thing is, regardless of what type of work you're doing, it's easy to get put in the wrong mental mindset. So you have to protect your mental security, your emotional intelligence, and just keep your mind in the right place, because it's very easy to fall into the wrong type of mindset, especially nowadays with everything that's going on, and there's so much political drama one way or another. By the way, I found out that I can't make a political comment of any kind whatsoever. You know, hey Kevin, you shouldn't do that. I was considering subscribing to your channel, but then you made a political comment, and I decided I'm not gonna. You should rethink that. Look, here's the thing. With Paul, I'm gonna get to talking about the job in a second, but when it comes to politics, somebody of intelligence can see valuable points to each side of the political spectrum. So, I'm not saying one side's wrong or the other, but, whatever your beliefs are your beliefs, and you have your beliefs because of your life experiences. And in my channel, I talk about my life experiences and what I've been through, and what's brought me to mowing lawns. It's kind of been an odd, crazy journey. I never thought when I was a kid, I'm like, I want to grow up and mow lawns. So my point there is that I respect everyone, regardless of their political point of view. And I wouldn't think less of somebody because of, their political beliefs. I like to have conversations with diversity, and that way I can learn more from it. So I find value in that. Some of my best friends are Democratic, and I'm I'm Republican. And if somebody's not okay with that, then hey, I'm sorry, that would be the deal breaker to enjoy something. But yeah, that's We'll get that out there. I'm out of the closet with my political beliefs. Kevin is a Republican, and I'm sorry, guys. I know that's offensive nowadays. It's all right. All right, it's all right. Have your beliefs. I believe the way I believe because of my life experiences. And if you would like to have a conversation with me in the comment section below and tell me your experiences and why you believe what you believe, and maybe we can have an exchange of value. That's what politics are about. You need to have both sides to keep balance, okay? So if you're ever wondering if I'm going to get to talking about the job, the answer is yes. I do want to do a few more things and get those out of the way before I do. So in the comment section, you may have noticed that I give a heart and a thumbs up to every comment. That is my system to know that I've read your comment. I go through and I read every comment, and I have to know. You know, that's my way of knowing. So if you see a heart and a thumbs up on your comment, I have read it. I want to respond back to every comment, but the problem is I kind of put myself in fully on whatever I do. So when I go through the comments, I go through, like, I'll spend 2-3 hours straight sometimes just doing nothing but replying to comments. And I have a very narrow window with my family. I work a lot, and you know, I consider YouTube work as well, but you know, we work in the field a lot. I come home and I work on videos and you know, so I try to spend the time that I can with my family as well. So it doesn't allow me to get to every comment as far as making a response back, but I do want to let you know I read every comment. So if you see a heart and a thumbs up, I appreciate you for leaving that comment. I value it. I read it. And I take into consideration all tips and feedback. I love feedback, whether it's positive or negative. And if you might think that I take it as a negative, I want to let you know I don't, okay? I do want to give a special shout out to one of our subscribers. Dalola is one of our subscribers, and she, in her comment, says, I am a terminally cancer patient, and your videos are very soothing and help me relax. And she goes on and talked about how the sermons helped her that day. And I just want to let her know, thank you for the positive feedback. It really is that kind of stuff, that stuff helps me, because, you know, burnout with any type of work is legitimate. And sometimes, you know, I don't want to come in here and make these videos. I might spend all week going, oh, I got to smash all these videos together. It's a lot of work sometimes. So, you know, feedback of all types really helps. But Dalola, I want to let you know, while I've been working this week, I've been thinking about you, and I have you in my prayers, and I just want to give you well wishes. So let's go ahead and get in and talk about the job. So the first thing that I did is that I was weed eating the cracks in the driveway. I kind of get that out of the way. James and I are both blowing off sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. James is blowing off the concrete. We're both working on this at the same time. It kind of takes two people when it's this bad. If you want to do it quick, you could have one person, but the thing is, he's cleaning the debris out of the way so that I can see what I have done. And there's a lot of buildup over there by the steps. If you wanted to clean that up, you would have to use a shovel. I was trying to kick it out of place, and I was getting some loose, but not a whole lot. The ground is real hard right now. It's been dry. We've had rain, but not enough to get this soil in the right condition. So anyways, I'm coming in, and one of the things you'll notice right here as I'm cleaning up the cracks is that I will angle the Weedeater head so that the string is shooting the discharge away from me. Whenever you're doing something like this, a project like this, you have to keep in mind there's rocks and debris and stuff that's going to be flying all over the place. You're running the Weedeater at full speed. You know, in comparison to when you're doing like weekly maintenance, you might only run the Weedeater at quarter throttle. I don't run full speed all the time, but on something like this, you're giving it its max power. So if you're using a Weedeater, you're going to use a lot of string because the string is grinding against the concrete. It's eating a lot of it away, right? But I'm also shooting the debris away from myself. So things to consider. You have to be aware of your environment. I'm wiping the dirt off the camera so you can see. Things to consider are your environment. Who else is working with me? You know, where are they at? Are there cars driving by? I said that weird. Cars. Are there cars driving by? You know, like right here, I'm kind of halfway through the driveway. I have to make sure that when a car drives by, I angle the head in a different direction so that I'm not taking a risk of shooting that rock into the street. So, you know, I'm shooting the rock. It might be flying at 15, 20 miles an hour or whatever, and then they're coming down the road at 30 or 40. It's probably going to do some damage to a windshield. You know what I mean? So you just got to be aware of that. I'm angling it away from myself because otherwise I would be taking a lot of debris to the face or my shins, and it's unpleasant. So just by angling that head away from yourself, you're going to save yourself a lot of headache and stress and pain. You know, like one of the worst places to get hit with rocks while you're weed eating is like the inside of your nose or on your ear, or your eyebrow line. You know, whew, that hurts, right? I get asked quite a bit what type of weed eater string we're using. I've always used, they call it ugly line and heavy duty line. It just depends on whether you're getting it from Home Depot or Lowe's. But currently we are using Husqvarna Titanium Force line, and it's pretty tough stuff. I like it quite a bit. It's got, and I'm not paid by them, by the way. I don't have any sponsors. So just throwing that out. It's one of those things that my dad works there, and he had some line, and he gave me a roll. He wanted it like an employee meeting or something, so he's wanting me to check it out. So right here, I changed the string, and you notice that I ran it like I have the head in a vertical state right now, but I ran it on the concrete first. I was actually using the concrete to grind it down so that the string's at the same length. The reason why I did that is I don't run a guard on my weed eater, and what the guard does, it's not actually there to protect you from flying debris. You know, maybe they'll say that, I don't know. The guard's only 3 inches wide, 4 inches wide, so it's not really protecting you from much on echoes. But what it does is it actually has a piece of metal in there that'll cut your string to the right length. But if you're doing this stuff all the time and you're a professional, you can hear the sound of the machine. You get very familiar with it. If it's revving real high, you know that your string is, you need to tap some more string out. If it's bogging down and you can hear the engine overworking, you need to get rid of some string. So you'd either ratchet some more string in on the speed feed, or you would use the concrete to grind it down. So it's just something that you have to learn over time. Now coming in here, this area is just super compacted. It's like a rock in there, and this, keep in mind when you're watching this is like a freebie thing, so everything we're doing is overkill and just for the enjoyment of doing something. All right. So when we're cutting these edge, we're cutting through quite a bit of dirt and debris and root buildup from crabgrass and native grasses, mostly crabgrass and Dallas grass, which are pretty hard to cut through. And so we're coming through, and I'm cutting through that, but I want to kind of make a comparison. It would be like if you've ever had a cake that was really, really dry. It's hard to cut through that with a knife. You almost have to saw it with a butter knife. But if you have, what up, cat? If you have a moist cake, then it'll cut right through. So when I talked about how dry the soil was, that's kind of what I'm talking about there. Whenever the soil's real dry, you're going to use a lot of your weed eater string, and the same thing goes. Oh, come here, dude. The same thing goes with if you're using a metal blade edger, it's going to do some more wear and tear on your edger blade. So on something like this, you might use 2 edger blades. And somebody might dispute that in the comments if they're more familiar with using an edger blade than I am. Okay, I don't know. I don't feel like I use a ton of weed eater string on stuff like this. I have people tell me that I would save more money if I used a metal blade. But we buy weed eater string in bulk. And so a 3-pound roll costs about $30. And in my company, it will last about, you know, 1 to 2 months. It really all depends. I've noticed that it comes down to a few factors: what time of the season, how hard and compacted the soil is. We use considerably less now that we're all weekly, even though we're cutting the lawns more frequent. We're just not we're not working the material as hard because we're taking off less. So on projects like this, you're going to use a lot more, so you go through that a lot quicker. It does cost you more, but the same thing would go if you were using a metal blade edger. So all this is nonsense. We cut the lawn before this, so I'm coming in and kind of messing with that as well. Wipe off the camera. I don't know if you can see. So James is cleaning that up so that I can see what we were doing. And then I'm going to come down the driveway. So it went pretty quick. I don't think that it took too long. It was both of us on it, and we were on it for about probably 30 minutes or so. But we were able to get this relatively back in shape. It's not back to the groove. So if you aren't familiar with lawn care, if you talk about the groove, that's talking about between the concrete and the actual lawn itself. You'll create a groove when you're establishing an edge. So you can use the metal blade to create that groove, and there's a lot of rocks in here right now, so I'm making sure I'm shooting that away, but also being considerate of, like I said, what's around me in my environment. But you can use a metal blade edger to create that groove, or the Weedeater. And then once the groove is established, then it's very easy to maintain and keep up on. I'm informing him about the rocks. So that's something good. Whenever you're working with somebody, communication is very, very important. You need to come in and talk about those kind of things. So I'm just letting them know to consider it and shoot them into the grass on the other side, and that way they're out of the way, and I don't keep hitting them with the Weedeater and take a chance of causing damage to anybody in the environment around me. So over here, instead of the traffic's coming from behind me, so instead of angling it to shoot the opposite way, where it would be going to head-on traffic, I'm actually shooting it more towards being in the yard and against the with the flow of traffic would be the best way to put that. Really, the best way to learn it, I think, is to get out and kind of get your hands dirty. Don't be afraid or shy down from projects. They'll take a little longer. They're time consuming, but they are kind of enjoyable. It's fun to see something come full circle from being completely overgrown and rough to making the house look like it was lived in and taken care of, and that there's some pride in it. I like that kind of thing myself. You know, I want to be involved with stuff like that. So over here, we're getting closer to the street, and the end of the driveway and the apron of the driveway out here is it's like asphalt with the shad rock on it. And shad, I think shad's a fish and shad rock would be the layering. I don't know what to tell you. Basically, there's a bunch of little rocks, so I don't go too crazy over here. Because, you know, keep in mind it was a freebie. Nobody's paying me for this, and that's an incredibly large liability. While we're talking about money, I got a comment on the last video. It's always fun when this happens. And, you know, they're like, well, you're putting this up and you're making a bunch of money off the ad revenue. Sometimes, okay, so we're just now at the stage where our channel's making money. We started making money in January, but it's been like $2 on one video or $3 on a video. So that last video, you might be interested in how much money we made. It was a cut of compassion. So, you know, I went out and I cut the lawn for free. And this lawn we would have cut for probably $400 or $500, and getting this edge back into shape, okay, $200 on the absolute low side, $400 or $500 being on the high side, depending on what all they were wanting done. Okay, now the edging here, something like this, if they wanted the edging like this, James and I were on this for about 30 minutes together. I would have charged probably $100 roughly to get this back in shape. All right. So it would have been an expensive service. So she said, you know, I'll probably make my money back on the video. Well, that's the hopes when I do something like this. That allows me to continue to make cool videos and, you know, that are entertaining, as well as go out there and keep doing charity. You know, ooh, that car drove by. Gotta watch out, not slam out a window. That's scary stuff. So, whenever you see a charity, and the people work at a charity, as a non-profit organization, something like that, they are still paid for their time. It's not for profit, but you know, you have people in the company that have to be compensated so that they can continue to do good. They may have some volunteers, but you know, there's expenses with doing anything that's a charitable act. Like here, even though James is on the phone over there, I'm paying him. And, you know, I'm paying him to be there, and we're doing this job, and that kind of is what it is. There's cost. We use Weedeater string, we use gas, we put wear and tear on the equipment. All of that comes into play. And so the hopes are that, yes, the video will make money down the road. But what I want to throw it out is that you may have noticed in my videos I use sermons, or sometimes I use songs, or you know, motivational speeches. I use a lot of copyrighted material. So that means somebody else has ownership of that. And when I use that, I might get a copyright claim, meaning that I will lose monetary gain from my video. Okay? And in my opinion, I think that a video with a good message that'll hopefully impact somebody's life for the better that day is worth more than a monetary gain. So obviously I would love to have compensation that allows me to keep creating videos and get the equipment I need and cover the expenses so that I can continue to do so. But if there's a situation like on this last video, I knew that there was copyrighted material, and I even knew what section of the video it was in, so I could have cut it out. But the thing is, that 1 minute section of the video and what was said in the message, I thought was impactful enough that it was worth losing any monetary gain that I would make off of going out and cutting a lawn completely for free and paying labor and covering the cost, because my hopes are that it would give somebody some kind of encouragement. And I got a lot of positive feedbacks in the comments. So there's other ways to be paid for a service or a video or something like this. You know, there's a lot of different ways to be paid. And for me, in this case, you know, I had a lot of people that let me know that it was what we were hoping, that it impacted their life for the better that day, and that was something they needed to hear. The other thing is, when you subscribe to my channel, that's a form of payment for me as well. It lets me know that we're on the right track, we're doing what we need to make you have some kind of enjoyment or some kind of happiness. So it really goes a long way to helping out, as well as just, you know, I don't know the best way. It gives me motivation, you know, because you hit the milestone markers and you know that people are listening and watching, and you have more interaction, and so you get more enjoyment out of it. You know, I would much rather put up a video and have 100,000 people see it and enjoy it than have 10 people see it and enjoy it. It's just, I mean, why wouldn't you want to have more people see something that you've worked on for hours? You know what I mean? So all that said, we didn't make any money off that video, and I'm completely okay with that. I'm happy with that. We did get to 10,000 subscribers today, so it's awesome that we hit the 10,000 mark. I'm looking very forward to seeing where the channel goes and where it takes us, and you know, along the way, I'm just going to keep on enjoying it and keep doing my thing. And you know, if you like the channel and you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and consider doing so. It really goes a long ways to helping us out, and I do greatly appreciate it. So yeah, I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and from here I'm going to go ahead and turn you over to Joardan Peterson.
what do you say to those viewers that don't pursue their dreams and are locked in their careers because they are too afraid to take risks and pursue something meaningful?
Well, the first thing I would say is, well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. It's like the first thing you want to do is dispense with the idea that you get to have any permanent security outside of your ability to contend and adapt. It's the same issue with children. It's like you're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. And you might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that. The clock is ticking.
Yeah,
and if you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older.
But isn't it a luxury to pursue what is meaningful? Our viewers have mortgages, they have children, they have payments and loans. It's a luxury to pursue because we lack the resources.
Well, I don't remember now, I'm not talking about what makes you happy. It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It might require sacrifice. If you need to change your job too, let's say you have a family and children and a mortgage, you have responsibilities. You've already picked up those responsibilities. You don't just get to walk away scot-free and say, well, I don't like my job, I quit. That's no strategy. But what you might have to do is you think, well, this job is killing my soul. All right, so what do I have to do about that? Well, I have to look for another job. Well, no one wants to hire me. It's like, okay, maybe you need to educate yourself more. Maybe you need to update your curriculum vitae, your resume. Maybe you need to overcome your fear of being interviewed. Maybe you need to sharpen your social skills. Like, you have to think about these things strategically. If you're going to switch careers, you have to do it like an intelligent, responsible person. That might take you a couple of years of effort to do properly.
When you say pursue something meaningful, is it important to have a vocation?
I think it's more important to have an ethos, an ethic. So I have a program, for example, called the Future Authoring Program, which is a writing program that enables people to develop a vision for their life and then to develop a strategy. And so it's based on the idea, imagine that, and it's an extension of the ideas in the book, or at least something along the same lines. The first thing that you want to do is figure out, imagine you were taking care of yourself, like you were someone you cared for, which is rule number 2, by the way, essentially. Then you should figure out, well, if you could have what you needed and wanted, what would it be? What sort of friends would you have? What would your family relationships look like? How would you conduct yourself with your children? How would you educate yourself? You need to think through how it is that your life could be properly arranged if you had that ability. And then you can aim at that. And the funny thing is that if you do posit a goal of that sort and work towards it, you will move towards it. The goal will change because you'll learn things along the way. But I mean, I've dealt with hundreds of people in my clinical and consulting practice, and we set a goal, we develop a vision and work towards it, and things inevitably get better for people. So it's not a luxury, it's difficult. It's a moral responsibility, and it isn't happiness. It's not, the pursuit isn't for happiness.
It's a moral responsibility to pursue what is meaningful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so we got that done, and it was wild and crazy. I'm thoroughly messy. Yeah, I got dirty, man. I got stupidly dirty. So, starting out front, there is a lot of traffic on this road. So I didn't go too crazy out here. I kind of shaved it down, it is what it is. But over here, man, this looks way better than when we started. It's not all the way back to the groove, but it looks real sharp. There's a lot of rocks in here too. So like right here, this is just full of rocks. So I didn't go too wild. Of course, both of us got hit with debris and rocks, and you know, hopefully we didn't ding up the camera or anything. It is what it is. Now, coming over here, this soil right here is like rock. So right there and over by the stairs, well, I'm playing the too hard card. I think I can do that since it was a freebie. Let's see. So the sidewalk, much better. It's a lot wider. We're still about 3 or 4 inches right there from the groove, because yeah, you can see the groove right there. and then it comes down. It's probably about 3 or 4 inches. But you know, if I had this person as a client and I was catching this up, this would be something that would be a cleanup like this, and then still it would be 3 or 4 cuts to get it fully back in shape. Like, if they wanted to pay for it in one stint, I mean, you're talking about a lot of time. Now over here, it's really built up. This is just years and years and years of buildup and compaction. That stuff does not happen overnight or in 6 months. And then we got a lot of crabgrass and stuff that was growing through it, and all those roots, well, they just make it like a rock. So that's the sidewalk and driveway. It looks real good. And yeah, so let's take another final look at it. Nice and pretty. Overall, looks real sharp. Remember all the grass that was growing in the cracks? Pretty good.